and welcome to Last Attempt, a World of Warcraft Guildcast. I'm your host, Squirrelthug, and again, we are joined by Shakatan. How you doing, man?
What up, dudes?
And Templar Ivanhoe. How's it going, man?
Hello.
So today we've got a lot to talk about, and the race to World First is in full swing on Mythic Laura, the final boss of this race. Add-ons are a hot topic, and Blizzard's been pumping out hot fixes for all of these fights, but especially this last one. There's been a few. We can about that. But first, let's go around the table, see what you guys have been up to this week. Shakatan, what's been keeping you busy this last week in WoW?
Um, I've been running some mythics. I need to run more actually. I wanted to get some done today, probably after the podcast or something. I just need at least one more 10, I believe, so I can fill up my my vault. Other than that, just raiding with the guild, trying to get those heroic bosses down. I didn't go into any pugs this week since we got at least 4 down in the guild. So I at least got those 2 heroic spots along with everybody else. And that's pretty much. I did some PvPing as well. I did some arenas last night. I tried to go into some threes with some old buddies of mine, and we didn't do too well, but at least we tried.
I tried out a little bit of PvP right before the raid on Tuesday because I was trying to get that PvP hero necklace, which is it's a PvP item, but it's still got some pretty decent stats.
Right. Yeah. Especially, I think it might be a best in slot for some people actually. Just based on I think there's very few mastery.
Haste mastery. Not a lot of necks that have haste mastery, and I think that's what resto druids are like focusing on right now.
Indeed.
And a couple other classes. So yeah, it's interesting that it would take 4 weeks to get that out. But it's if anybody's listening, if you want a neck upgrade, because historically, right, necks and trinkets have been pretty difficult to get. Like they're few and far between, basically champion and up, right?
Yes.
Templar, what have you been up to this last week?
For me, unfortunately, it's been a heck of a week. IRL. Had a scare with my dad. Had to take him to the hospital on Sunday last week, but he's doing okay right now.
Glad to hear he's okay.
Thanks. And other than that, I've been nursing a bad knee. So the only thing I've been able to really do is raid with everyone right now. But as we are doing the podcast, I'm doing some blacksmithing to get some more gold, getting up my profession still. What's great is, just having, especially for the cauldrons for the guild, so getting that up, and happy to say that we are 9 out of 9 normal and 4 out of 9 heroic. So it's been a lot of fun with the raid, and I think the structure of it has been, being able to see a different skybox, a different room, a different platform, and just a difference in the bosses have been a lot of fun. And of course, we're going to end up talking about this, but also tuning into the Race to World First as we speak. So it's been crazy seeing their reaction to getting to the secret phase.
Yeah, that was cool to see. I didn't actually see the secret phase unlock live, but I saw the Wowhead article immediately go up that was reporting in on it. So Wowhead is throwing out a lot of articles live. It's actually really interesting. Out of all of the news sites, there have been a few over the years that have kept up with WoW events pretty closely. I think they're now Blizzard Watch, but they used to be WoW.com and WoW Insider after that. And the
Right.
company's like gone through several hands, and then they kind of bought it out. I believe. I believe they own. They're like self-employed basically now. Um, and Blizzard Watches is their name, and they used to cover things live. I don't know if they do that anymore because they used to do it
Mhm.
with BlizzCon and other things like that. So they would always be there, you know. But I think when they had corporate funding, it was
Mhm.
a lot easier to show up to all the events and like report in on them. But for these big ones, um, Wowhead usually has pretty good coverage. I appreciate that, And in our Discord, one of the things I've got set up news in some different categories, and so it's really interesting to see Wowhead news just stream in live, because it catches it
Mm.
whenever they post it.
Yeah, times have definitely changed. I mean, back in the day, if I wanted to know like the data mining type stuff, I went to MMO Champion. It was
Mhm.
like
Oh, that's an
that
old
was
name.
like where, yeah, that's where you get all of your like data mined, information on the tier sets and everything like that. I'd go there before I went to like Wowhead, but now Wowhead is just like this huge, just aggregate of like everything, right? They got the timelines, they got live stats and stuff kind of going off on the main page, and
It
yeah, it's
seems that they figured out a really good monetization model, right? And
Mhm.
and then they've also figured out a way to pay their writers, and they've got quite a few. And so they've got funding in some way where they've managed the money coming in a good way, because if I'm not mistaken, they have full coverage for all classes and their specs, which is it's a lot. And each of the people who are
I
writing
have a
those
lot of writers.
columns, yeah, there's those class discords. These people are usually on those too, like the experts that you would look for in the community. Those are the people that Wowhead
Hmm.
hires, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Babylonians from Peak of Serenity for sure.
Yeah, yeah, those places. The the kind of resources that they've pulled for their website are amazing, and they're always data mining things, and they've also done a lot of work on their back end. They've got these 3D model viewers. I love those, right? You get to actually see a model without opening it up. You can see it on your phone,
Hmm.
right?
Mhm.
Like you look at an
Hmm.
actual helmet model, zoom in, zoom out, check it out, move it around on your phone if you wanted to. So it's pretty cool website. Yeah, they're I think it's things like that, which is why Blizzard is leaning in on all that community effort, right? Because they have some really strong community sites like this. And I don't know that I have it in the news here, but Holly Longdale, there was just a post about the Q&A that she had done. Did you guys get a chance to listen to that? I think it was within this last week.
Oh no, I
Um,
have not.
yeah, I haven't either. Been too busy, unfortunately.
Oh, well, so I listened to it. There were a lot of really good questions. So I suggest that anybody who's wanting to hear directly from Holly and what she thinks about these things, um, she did a pretty good job of answering some things. Some of the questions, though, were a little bit too um, I think specific about maybe systems that they don't have nailed down, or things that they don't have a decision on, but they know that they have to do something, right? Pet battles, for example, right? Or archaeology, or if we're thinking about these like the paradigm of having evergreen systems, right? So what they create per expansion, housing, prey system. These are systems they intend to keep in WoW for a long time, as opposed to just for an expansion, right? Um,
Yeah,
but then they have the older systems that just didn't really hit and didn't really do well, but aren't locked to just an expansion, right? Archaeology isn't just in Cataclysm; it's throughout a few, and then they kind of abandon it.
and then it waned off. Yeah,
Right.
they kind of let it go, which is unfortunate that, certain cool, stuff that does come out in, an expansion kind
Battle
of goes
pets are kind of
wayside.
the
But
same way, right?
hmm
And I don't know that that's a very interesting conversation to have, right? With to kind of see how they're going to go about this going into the future, because she had a lot to say about these things. But like, do they just put more effort into it so that it is a rewarding and engaging system? Because for a little bit, it's they're tying like experience to it, and you can level. You could actually like level by just doing pet battles, right? And
hmm
and then they made them account wads, and that made that a little bit different. But should they just make the system better so that it's more
just
rewarding?
tweak it till it gets a little bit better. Yeah,
Because it was
maybe,
just kind of grindy. And yeah, you had a UI for it, and you can even queue up for a pet battle, and you can have your team set up and everything, and then you fight a random person. You get achievements for it. There was some thought and some effort put into the pet battle system. However, it stopped. It was like bare minimum, and then we're good. And there was never any iteration on that system in the same way that other systems, like the dungeon queue system or the LFR system, right? Like these things that we have continuously been iterated upon. And we have changes throughout for all of them throughout each expansion. We just don't see the same level of attention to pet battles. So maybe it's just that. Maybe for some of these old systems, they just need to revitalize them instead of trying to axe them in some way, right? Because the system's already in the game. I think it would be better to
they need
just
to bring
use
them
something that they have.
right, right. It's hard with so much stuff going on in WoW. I mean, it would be cool to have them do something like, let's just say, like for the pet battles, for instance, um, if it was like a way to have like, a special arena day. Maybe there's a pet battle arena place that people can go to. Like um, could be in a neighborhood, could be out of a neighborhood. Kind of like they've got the Booty Bay. They got the Stranglethorn Vale fishing thing that happens. All the time. If they had something like that, that was maybe like the Gurubashi Arena. For pet battles or something, and maybe give I don't know. They'd have to give incentive to the players as well, right? To really like
Um,
get in there.
what was the thing in Orgrimmar that you guys were at? You were all hanging out and fighting those boss battles.
Oh. See, that
I
just went away
completely
so
forgot.
quickly.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah,
fight
well, I
club.
got all my achievements and I'm like, peace.
I went and I
Yeah, it
did a
was
little
like
bit of
fight.
it later, and I got through about halfway.
Right, the Brawlers Guild.
Brawlers Guild, yes. That was fun. When I did go there, I saw other people battling. I think even if you're kind of taking your time with it, they're really fast matches, right? So it's cool that there are
Yeah,
people
you
in
can
line and they're
chill.
kind of watching. So maybe those, inexperience with pet battles like that, but it's like
hmm
you only get one. You have your one guy that you're going out there with, and you're gonna try to do something. Whoever has the most health at the end of a round, at the end of the 3 rounds or something, and they're really quick timed. I don't know, but I think that something along the lines, right? You already have the Brawlers Guild system set up. You know what it's like to instance people and to put them in a queue and to have the arena kind of be this sort of separate, not phase, but like section, right? You've already got that set up, the scaffolding for it. So like, I don't know, maybe use these things to enhance some of the other parts of the game. Um,
I think part of it is also the sunk cost fallacy that Blizzard already invested all this money into pet battles. Why not put more money into it and make it even better? Ultimately, sometimes you have to maybe not completely remove it from the game, but at least transfer resources to things that people either want or have been looking forward to, a la the housing. I don't think pet battles are bad or anything, but I think ultimately that players, even those who may be more casual, aren't necessarily interested in them, or at least aren't interested in them as they were.
Okay. Um, and speaking of that, Holly had mentioned, having different perspectives on on other parts of the game, right? That there's not just this one thing, or there's not just the main, because the race to world first, I think, was already off, and it's like it's not just about mythic raiders, and it's not just about the hardcore players and stuff. There's this real big focus on like mid-core players, and that touches a lot of different game systems, and so they would have to be really conscious about how much development time you're gonna give to any one of these projects, because you have to be smart about it, and they want to take care of these other systems that players are engaging with, because they have a lot of data. That's what she kept mentioning, that they have
Oh,
a lot
they've
of
got a
ways
ton of
to
data.
watch players and see intent, right? I never
Have you
did
seen
see
pictures
the
of the war
control
room?
room. No.
Yeah, dude, that's
You got to
wild,
post those in
bro.
the Discord.
I think you can just Google them up. Just Google up Blizzard's control room. WoW, and you can see some images of it
Yeah,
over
it's
the
insane.
various years and stuff. They've shown it like in some documentaries and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, oh, I was wondering where anybody would would get a chance to see those, take pictures and stuff.
I remember one of the BlizzCons that they did where you could I wouldn't say one of the first few BlizzCons, but definitely in the mid 2000s. That they went behind the scenes at the Blizzard headquarters, and they got a brief glimpse there.
Just imagine what it's like
For that
now.
stream. Yeah, when you could stream the whole BlizzCon show, through their site.
Oh, yeah, that was
It's like
around
2008,
Cataclysm.
2007, something in there.
No, it must
Mm-hmm.
have been like
I think I was
2010 or
able to
something.
pull it up, the Global Network Operations Center, and let me get the picture.
They've got tons of data, though. You know what I mean? They know
Oh,
what
wow.
people are doing at any given point in
Yeah,
time. Where
that's a nice ops center right there.
they could pull up a server and see where the population's what they're doing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. They've got a lot of data on all this stuff. And Holly was talking about, she likes to role play, and that was one of the questions of like, a role player is going to get something, and housing kind of comes into that, right? And like guild housing and that kind of stuff. It falls under the same category. There's like a overlap there. But there's definitely a lot of stuff that we can expect. Yeah, definitely. If anybody is listening to this, you get a chance, just go and listen to that Q&A. It's also an example of how Blizzard is trying to engage with the community now, right? Like there's this sort
Mm-hmm.
of they set this whole Discord up in a way where you're able to, I guess, it's like it's Blizzard's platform, but it's got all the community members in one location instead of trying to go on Twitter or on Instagram, or what I mean, using some other platform. So it's Discord or whatever, so it's not theirs, but it's their own sort of privately managed server, and they have control over it and who can say what and who's going to be in the voice channels, right? And so while that must have been an investment, I mean, it seems to be the direction that they're going in going forward.
Which also
Yeah.
makes sense, especially now. Obviously, companies like Nintendo or Sony will stream things on YouTube nowadays since E3 is not around. But it's good now that we have a platform where there can be a Q&A. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure Blizzard will during BlizzCon do a similar thing like they've done in the past for YouTube and stuff. But having the ability to ask questions from the community without having to physically be there and meet the devs and stuff is really great.
Yeah, it's just they need to get on somehow recording those things or screen recording it, because I think the way that I had seen it, it was a Wowhead article, and one of the Wowhead developers was just like streaming that screen on Discord on his Twitch. So like it had commentary, which I was like super annoyed about, but I had to deal with it because it's the only way that I can, because I wasn't there live, right? And Blizzard, I don't
Right.
think had done their on their end, screen recorded and put that up. That I don't know that crossed their mind, but obviously the community is going to record it, and yeah. So on our next news item, there's a Sally Whitemane 1/3 scale statue. Infinity Studio is the studio that's created this. Blizzard and this studio have partnered for a hyper detailed 1/3 scale statue, and they've done this before. They did it with Garrosh Hellscream, and they did it with Varian Rin, and they also did another one of Varian Rin, but that one was only a bust, so it was like just like torso, right, or like chest up, and that
Right.
was life size. But this one is $2,600 for the statue.
Yeah.
It's pretty big, 3.5 feet tall.
40
Is pretty
42
big.
inches.
Yeah. I mean, 26, 26.20 is the price you can pay if you get in early.
Dude.
So a little bit of a discount there. I don't know what the final price is. Maybe it's gonna be like 3,000 or something. But $2,600 is still a really high price. But I mean, obviously it's a collector's item, right? There's not going to be very many of these things. WoW is a really big franchise and has been for a quarter of a century, right? So maybe this is a ridiculous buy for some people, but it could be considered like this is like a really good investment, right? For somebody who's gonna, if you wanted to sell that later on, that could be something that people would want. World of Warcraft has had such a long time in our media, in our culture, right?
Right. Yeah, it's up to, with pieces like those, if you're getting it as an investment, I mean, it's only ever going to be worth as much as somebody is willing to pay for it after the fact. I know they are doing a limited run on these, so kind of get it while you can. But man, 2,000. I mean, while I can admire the quality of work, I've looked at all the close-up images and stuff, and the like at that scale, they can put a lot of detail in. Man, it's just I can't personally. There's a lot of other things I could spend my $2,000 on.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree. It's really cool, but man, is that expensive for it. But I do hope that they do sort of more of these things, or at the very least, I would love to have back in the past, like when WoW was real popular, they had a set of World of Warcraft figures. I think it was by McFarlane Studios. I could be wrong.
Oh, I've got two of them. Yeah.
Oh, great. I would love to see those come back.
Yeah. I think they should. I got a Shadow Priest and a Paladin.
Nice. Yeah, the Paladin is really good.
The work on them was really well done. Especially they're not very movable, right? They're more stance. They're not like fully articulated, but they were really well done.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely top-notch McFarlane toys.
Yeah, and hopefully with all this good attention, people, doing housing, all of the animations they've been doing, like let's get back to this where WoW was, had all this different stuff, and you could, you know, uh, get a figure of your class, uh, have the Alliance or Horde Pride, but also, you're cheering to save all of Azeroth. It's just, it's a good time.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the 3D prints? Have you guys seen those? The ones that you can like get your own character.
I
You've
remember
seen.
those, yeah, back in the day, but I didn't know anybody was still doing them.
I don't know if they're still doing it. I haven't checked into it a long time, but I really
What was
thought
the
about getting one
detail
back in the day.
level on those? Did they look pretty good?
It was okay. It was not like a McFarlane toy or something like that by any means, but I thought they were all right for for what they were. I can't remember what the pricing was on them, but I'd imagine with 3D printing these days, man, they could, you know, business could really pop off on some custom WoW characters,
Yeah, if somebody had
especially with like.
the whole setup for it. That's a pretty complicated setup.
Right. Well, yeah, it was the printing. It was like the printing of the form, but then they also had to like basically paint the skin, the texture on that,
Yeah.
Custom skins and stuff like that, depending on what your transmog was.
And with how many years it's been since I could even, any of us could have thought of purchasing that, armor has gone in all sorts of different directions. Even cloaks, they're not just cloaks anymore. Sometimes they're the hoods combined with the cloaks. You also have the ones that are sort of, how do I put it? They're like long giant ribbons. It would be great to see those again.
Even the backpacks, you've got the chicken backpack, you got like all the
Yep.
different delvers, backpacks, some kind of the rocket ones, got some wacky stuff, to really kind of customize your character, especially if you want to get a print of it.
Yeah. But I think we're burying the lead here, which is just that the fact that we will finally be able to choose where we put our one-handers, whether on our side or on our back.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
that was a
new.
big
That's
one,
new.
right?
Yep.
And that's
Which
already
is
in the game or coming in 12.0.5?
1205.
Okay, so they got a
So
couple customization things coming in on that.
yeah, but that's genuinely had me the most excited just from
That's a big
this
one.
last week.
And
Um,
in other big news, oh, sorry, you were going to say something?
Oh no, I was just gonna say for me, I've just been wanting that for just such a long time because I love the Warcraft movie Sword and Shield, but I could never put the sword on my back, and now that I can, I'm just gonna switch to that full time again.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's great. It's great that they opened up that option now. And so in other news, we have Delve Journey has been uncapped. So it was at 4 for a while, which I know some people thought was a little weird, especially because I believe last week there was a weekly quest, and it was for like delves, which would have been great if you weren't capped at like 4. But then kind of a bunch of progress that players like would have made into the delve system was nothing came of it really, right? Because they were already at the ceiling. They were already capped at 4, so there was nothing for them to gain from that week.
Right. It was I did see that and was leveling through uh, the Delver's journey, leveling the progress up. Um, but I honestly, I do understand that, especially with, you know, it's the first week of Mythic. Don't want to give people too much power, but I also understand the annoyance. So, me personally, I probably wouldn't have capped it at so small a point, like maybe cap it at 6 or 7. But I'm not 100% sure what, all the rewards are such that it would affect player power.
So that's probably, well, the way that they've got it set up right now is what I'm assuming is the reason why it was capped at 4. Now that it's not capped at 4, and you can just continue all the way to the end of whatever the levels they have are for this season. The next level up, rank 5 in your Delver's journey, unlocks access to Zaran. It's an ethereal vendor who sells champion track equipment for undercoins. After completing tier 6 and up delves, I guess he's like at the end. I think I remember him from last season. He would be he had one set of items, and I don't know that it ever changed. I think it was only necks and trinkets or something like that, and it was a consistent kind of reward that you can get at the end of a delve. But you wouldn't just get it. I think it had to be, again, like this one was saying, is like 6+ tier 6 and up, and then um, maybe some other qualifier or something. But he would be at the end of some of them. And you can, if you didn't have a trinket or a neck, it was a really good way to get that. This time around, however, he has a rotating daily selection of gear slots.
Okay,
So
good. Yeah.
it's a little different.
If memory served, what he had was actually semi-random. I don't know if they then later hotfixed that to having, like you said, he will have is like a daily rotation. But if memory serves, it was at least semi-random, if not completely. And that was one of the big things that I know they covered on Wowhead being a major annoyance. So that would actually make sense. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he maybe he's going to show up at the end of delves again, just like last season. So we can expect to see this guy coming in. After you get rank 5, that's reaching rank 5 is what unlocks this NPC. So he should be showing up in your delves after that, and that should be pretty good for it. It basically it positions delves to be an even better way to level up your alts.
Right. And again, I love it because that's one thing I need to do, especially on my shaman. Um, and I did actually see what was cool is that the integration with the prey system. Um, Whenever you get, or I'm sorry, it might not be the prey. Excuse me. I think it is with. Is it the Silver Moon rep where you get the flags?
Oh, I was gonna say there is the treasure trove things that, or the nemesis thing that you can get from the prey system to using the delves.
Yeah, I'm getting things screwed up. It's actually part of the delve renown is the treasure hunter, and that's where there's an even extra bonus. So it's a bonus upon a bonus where a sanctified banner will come up, and if you right click and destroy it within a bountiful delve, you can get decor items. So they've added that. They've also added the ability once you reach like rank 4, you can get 5 mythic crests per bountiful delves. Um,
3
and
per
I think
day,
it's
right?
it's is it 3 per day or just
Or
4
3
a
delves each
week?
day. Like you get the amount.
Yeah. I'd have to double check that, but in either case, very nice.
It's a good
When you
system.
do when you do 3 prey missions as well, you get that nemesis. You can spawn the nemesis as long as you get to the middle point in the delve, so you can get some extra stuff off of him.
Yeah, I believe beating that boss will give you a chest, right? And then it's a pretty
Hmm.
decent shit. Like you can get some stuff in there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, a lot of their PvE systems have really there's a lot of thought to them in a sense of like I know that there are some players who don't, they pick and choose, but I think a lot of players play with all of these things, right? They're doing prey because prey is so easily overlapped into what you're already doing. You're gonna go into this zone because you're gonna do dailies, so you can get that chest. You're gonna be in the zone anyways. You get the prey, and you're good to go. I think the only thing that would make the prey system um, better is if it evolved into something that allowed us to have a UI, right? Like I don't always know that I'm gonna do something in a certain zone. But sometimes like I I end up in a zone and I'm like, okay, well, like I'm doing more things, or like, oh, there's more stuff in here that I thought, or I don't know, maybe I make
So
the
not having to
decision.
go all the way
Yeah, I
back
don't
into
want to go
town.
all the way back. Let me, yeah,
Right.
right. Just queue it up. Let me use the system. Let me use a crystal or something, and just get it going. And cancel another one if it just so happens to be like that one's active or something. Like I'd like to just switch the focus of the prey system to where I'm at. I think that would be, or if that's just a bonus thing, right? Maybe less of a reward, but you get a passive where if you spend enough time in a zone, like you'll attract prey, and so it'll just queue you up automatically because you've just been hanging out in the zone, doing stuff for X amount of activities, right? If you mine or herb enough things or do enough like dailies and stuff or kill enough NPCs, it's like, oh, look, maybe you're gonna be here for a bit. Let's get one going for you, right?
Right.
And if you
Yeah,
if
it'll be
you
interesting
can
to see what
consciously what?
I was gonna say. It'll be interesting to see what they add as you level up in the whole prey system. Because they could just add more levels and possibly include things like that.
Yeah, I think if it's passive, right? Like if it's just a bonus and you're allowed to engage or not engage, right? Because you don't know that the player is going to be there 100% just because they grabbed a few herbs. Maybe they have 20 of these things they need to get and they're just here for that. And even if this is a cool overlap for them and it's ready to go by the time they get their 20 herbs, like they're in the middle of like crafting, so they weren't going to stop anyways, right? And they're not punished
Especially in
for it.
Nightmare,
Yeah, and you're
you're
just
just
not
sitting there,
punished for it.
and one of
So
those orby things comes up behind you or whatever that like insta kills you if it touches you.
yeah, so maybe not, that would be the downside, right? Like if you're not doing a focus thing like that, you're not getting access to the nightmare level tier, but it could be something else, just under that. You need a hard mode
There
and
is some achievements. I was
the
gonna say
random.
there's some achievements for fishing 100 fish while in during Nightmare Prey mode. There's some other ones gathered like
Oh, that's
some like
crazy.
gathering type stuff.
Because you have to
Achievements
get
out there.
kills to keep the debuffs away, right?
Um, well, yeah, you also have to get kills in between. You have to get kills, and you have to watch out for that tracking thing, that the the touch on death thing that you have to paralyze or stun somehow, before it gets up to you. Now, you know how many times Nightmare, dude? You know how many times if you are in the prey mode, it resets your prey. It resets your crystal at the bottom if you die. So,
Yeah, I've had that
dude,
happen.
so many times, so annoying, dude. But I mean, that's what it's Nightmare mode. So
Yeah, nightmare mode is like you're actively pushing for something like that. But I think like a lesser version, just passively as something that you can
yeah,
just toggle on. You can just toggle on or toggle off in the menu or something. I don't know if that could be a thing, but they're just different ways to engage in it because it's really good. I think it's really fun. I like the rewards. I like the system. I like the chase. Right? It's all really fun. So it'd be cool
hmm
if it was just easier to have fun, right? Um, Being able to queue up for dungeons was amazing because now you don't have to be in the city stuck doing literally nothing just because you wanted to get into a dungeon, right? The LFR system helped
Right.
that. Now I can go out and have an adventure and have fun, and when the dungeon's ready, I can go away and I can do that. Even the three of my friends, like we don't have a healer or a tank, but we're out doing adventures, having fun, and then a healer and tank get queued up with us, and then we get teleported away. Like it's a great system. We just need more of that. With obviously not like instancing out for that, but the thoughtfulness put
some
into these
quality of
things.
life, right?
But I think you
Yeah. And
guys are over champion, right? So you don't need Zaran.
Right. No,
right.
I'm a hero in Mythic gear now. Well, I still like the crest though. I'll be selling stuff.
Yeah, being able to
Some
get the
crest.
crest from Delves is really nice. That's pretty great. And I was saying some stuff about Delves before, but as I leveled up and I'm going into like higher tiers in Delves, the tanking spec for Valera, or is it Verisa? No,
Valera.
Valera. Yeah, these elves, I swear. So Valera, she's actually a really decent tank. So I've had much less problems at higher tier delves, like tier 2, 3, and 4 was just like it was a struggle. Like I would just be the one tanking and slowly killing things, but she does a lot of damage. So as long as she stays alive, and she has been in the higher ones, it's been really good. So that it's feeling a lot closer to what I was dealing with Brand last season, and I really like that. I like the dynamic of going in and keeping the tank topped off, and the closer to 100% or at 100% that I keep the tank, the more damage they do, which makes it speed up and go faster. So there's like incentive to keep, the tank topped off.
Right, which also helps you practice if you're, leveling up or not used to doing a different spec.
Yeah, it leans into what I'm doing as a healer, right? Instead of just passively
Mhm.
like, oh, there's nothing about keeping this up. Like I could just, I don't know. I think it's a good design.
Definitely.
So the next thing that we got on our list is some promo rewards coming to the trading post in 12.0.5. They've it looks like we've like data mined some promotional exclusive items that are, maybe they had like some like tags with them, because we know that items will sometimes get those tags, and we'll have an idea of that they're going to be on the trading post. We've got Little Flameo, 250 tender, originally from this Steel series and WoW collab, required $160 purchase. Wow. Okay, so
Yep.
I for sure don't have that one. I was like, I can't remember that, but no. Answer is I don't have that, but I will be getting it. I'm pretty sure it's pretty cute, right?
Oh yeah. And then we got we go to the big stuff with the Hate Forge Blade Cycle.
I'm surprised. I'm
I
surprised that
was
one's
too.
on there, because that was kind of a big deal with the thing. But also, trading post rewards don't come that often, right? Like it's not like this is gonna just make its way every year into here. So I think I kind of like that it was like a very limited promotion.
Right, exactly. And this also, of course, follows up with what they've been saying for the past few weeks is that previous items that have become extremely rare through promotions and such will go on the Trader's Post so everybody can have a chance at them.
Yeah, that was because of that last event, right? In Germany.
Hmm. Also, the chicken backpack, or I'm sorry, was it the backpack or housing decor? The cuckoo
Um,
buck.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. So I saw somebody posting about it, and then it was like, I don't know, less than an hour later, it
Instantly
was
over.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really quick, and it was in the middle of the day, and it's like, dude, this is a work day. This is all kicking off and then coming to a very quick end before most people even know what happened. They're just gonna read about it
Yep.
afterwards, and it's disappointing when something like that happens. It doesn't feel good to know that you just never even had a chance, and it was because you're a contributing member of society.
We should all be ashamed.
Right. um, so yeah, there's a couple other things that they're bringing back. So it'll be interesting. Make sure to keep an eye on those trading posts, especially right if you're accruing tender. If a lot of the stuff hasn't really been something you wanted, maybe one of these things that make its way to the trading post is gonna catch your attention. Because especially with some of these, $160 purchase just to get that pet, and now 250 tender. That's a huge difference. I personally hope that they bring some of the items from the TCG, like more of them, because there was some really fun ones. They have the El Pollo Grande in Pandaria right now, but I don't really play that one, so it's been hard for me to like, I guess get it's grueling. It's a grueling task. You have to basically do like timed runs on dungeons, and there's like a really specific path that you have to take, and there's all this stuff, and it's doable. But I think I did the math on it, and I would need to do like 50 or 60 timed runs just to get enough currency to then buy the mount, and then like, obviously it's a timed run, so like it has to be under a certain amount of time. And so I added all that up, and I'm sure I'd get it under a little bit, but still, like, the whole total thing was just like way more hours than I wanted to.
Right.
So I decided against it. But I really want it.
I mean, I'd want it too, but yeah, that sounds.
But
just
that one's only on
absolutely-
Pandaria. Like, it's not warbound,
Right.
so it won't be on your account.
Which is a shame, really.
Yeah, but what is on your account are the Felcycles. So it's cool that they're bringing these things to to the trading post. And interesting enough that the Mountain Dew Felcycles coming to the trading post in 12.0.5. We just got the culmination of the green Felcycle, the Incognitro, um, the rats. I think it was like Rats Dungeon or something, and you're kind of following this person who was uncovering a secret, which is what the secret of the orbs and everything in this dungeon, the Karazhan dungeon. Um, I think the ninth orb unlock is what gave us all the Fell Cycle, the green one, because there's three altogether. The Mountain Dew is the one that gives us the red one. This secret unlocked gave us the green one, and I believe they just put the other one on the trading post, right? I don't know. I have all of them. I just don't know where that other one came from. Do you guys remember?
I honestly don't. But
Yeah, I don't have any of them.
I will. Yeah, I will say it took them such a long time, and it's just rather insane. That we're only getting the complete solution now.
The
But
last
it's
for the 11th orbit, it requires a full 40-man raid.
Oh,
And you had
Yep.
to have done everything from the 10th orb, which I think last week or the week before we were talking about was like this this focus, this something focus, this item, and it gave you a buff, and the buff didn't go away you um until like raid reset, right? The weekly reset. And basically the full 40-man raid group has to go to the Divine Flame of Beladar in Hollowfall. So like this is cool flame like near one of the towns. And everyone has to be near the flame, so just like a big circle around the flame. And there are people and I think like every single person has to emote. Like the whole 40-man raid, because there's some way that it works. If you get it wrong, out of the 25 tunes or tones that you'll play, you can get 15 of them like wrong before it like fails and you have to start over again. There's an add-on that somebody made that helps coordinate the 40-man raid to do the emotes correctly so that you get because it's like only a certain amount of people can do the note or do the emote, and then after these certain emotes the flame will then play a tone or something, right? And it's like playing an instrument, and then the next section of people will do something, and then so it just goes on in some complicated way. That how did they figure this out? Like, who's like the secret Discord just getting 40-man raids together just to test things? It's insane that they're able to do these every time they unlock something. I'm always just so impressed with and with any of their antics. It's amazing. It's amazing to see. It's fun. It's fun to watch. I can't wait for the next secret hunt.
also, just a reminder. These are actual secrets. Like it's not like, say, you're playing Ace Attorney. I'm sure a lot of people love that, but um, there, some mysteries, some puzzles, but they're not really all that hard to figure out. They're arguably pretty basic, but these guys are going in and really digging through, whether it's the lore or just going I don't know, just all the ends of the earth of Azeroth to try to pick and find these itty bitty little sections to go to find these things. It's just incredible.
Yeah, it's they do a really good job, and again, one more thing on the community. This section of the community in World of Warcraft, like being a pillar for the game, right? Like this is a big part of the game for a lot of people. This is something that some people spend all their time on.
Right, and it's just awesome.
Yeah, and even if you are not like some of these people spending all their time on this, a very large portion of the World of Warcraft community kind of just depends, kind of relies on the fact that there's an active secrets community, and they're just doing really cool stuff all on their own. And even if you're not going to participate in it, like once the guide comes out that shows you how to get that reward, if the reward is cool enough, you'll just go do the guide, right? You'll just go through and just do all the stuff, however
Right.
ridiculous it is. And that's a large portion of the WoW community that benefits from this cool thing, and like a huge number of people. And that's such a small number of people in that community doing the real work. I think it points to these pillars that we have with the community, and that it's really smart that Microsoft and Blizzard are focusing on those and kind of putting effort there. I think that for me as a WoW player, that gives me the confidence that they're reinforcing the foundation of this game, and it's just here to stay for a long time.
And you could have won some prizes from the secret Discord because they had an APB on people helping them. One of the biggest issues was that they didn't just need people on alts. What they needed was actual people on their accounts, because the debuff that you got wasn't just for the next reset per character; it was per account. So they did that APB on trying to get people to do it, and you could have won. I think it was like um, a mount from the store, some other smaller prizes, stuff like that.
That's cool that they give out gifts and such like that. Basically bounty, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, so we're all really glad that they do the work that they do, and that we get to benefit in the way that we do. I've already gotten the Felcycle. I don't know that I'm going to finish this one. I mean, I probably will at some point, but there doesn't seem to be much of a reward outside of just like getting it done. But I think it does have, it's like lining up for some other part, right? Because there's other parts of the game. I think in Mists of Pandaria, there's the Seed of Knowledge, and there's things that have been unlocking there. So there's a lot of activity around here, and I know Blizzard just talked about putting out another secret, and um, they have an employee that's specifically kind of like at the lead of that, because I don't know, I think he's like cryptologist or something. It's like a hobby of his. So like that guy was in charge of it, and it was really interesting to see his insight on building these secrets out, and what they're able to do. So also that made the promise that they have more things to come.
Yeah.
Can't wait, man.
So I wanted to talk about the some blue posts that we've had over like the last week. There've been a lot of hot fixes for class tuning, resto druids in PvP. All healing got a boost, 8%, regrowth 40%, Swiftmen 25%, Barkskin now 30%, DR was 20%. And so that's a 10% increase. Also 5% all healing reactive resin is plus 50%. So there's just like a buff all the way across the board, but that was again highlighted for just their PvP. Rejuve and germination also within for PvE this time for Resto Druid. Tranquility up 10%, Wild Growth up 10%, Embrace of the Dream up 35%, Reforestation no longer stacks out of combat and raid, so that exploit was fixed. But Mistweaver Monk, notably here that I see, they got a -4% to all healing. Heart of the Jade Serpent nerf to 30% was 75%, so that is pretty big, it seems, right? It's 40% nerf, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like 35% nerf. Celestial Conduit -50%. And and then there's some changes to the dungeon and raids, notably because we're on March of Quel'Danas. The Belleran, they fixed Eternal Burns, Dive Bomb on dead targets, Void Patch, size mismatch, and same color tank feathers. So they seems to have been a lot of focus on some of these things because the race to world first is on right now. In terms of the items and systems, Belleran rewards increased. Gear from the boss and March of Quel'Danas has been buffed. We've got some trinket fixes and a couple other things, but also there's some macro restrictions that have been tightened in certain ways, and that actually brings us to our next news item, which is all about the add-on restrictions. So before we get to that, did you guys see any hot fixes or anything for any of your classes that you're playing right now that really affects your gameplay for this last week?
Oh yeah, Prop Pally got a lot of buffs. The biggest thing was Light of the Titans. It's a talent where um, if you're taking periodic damage, I believe it's just magic. I could be wrong. I'd have to double check. But your heal that you get on yourself um, goes up by 100%. Now it's changed to 200%, which is a lot. Um, Another thing is that it seemed like all tanks, except for maybe Brewmaster and Guardian, got a damage buff. I know Blood DK got their auto attack as well as Prop Pally got auto attack damage up. Prop Pally also had their Judgment damage going up, which is nice. I'm not going to say no to a damage buff for the class I play, but definitely they were focusing on for Prop Pally us taking a lot more periodic magic damage than other tanks were.
So there was some Mistweaver buffs in there, or nerfs actually, but I didn't see anything for your spec, Shaq. Have you kind of just been dodging the nerf bat?
Yeah. I mean, as far as Windwalker goes, we got a buff on our Fist of Fury. Just increased the. Actually, I think it's coming out this patch this Tuesday, but just increased the Fist of Fury additional damage to targets by like 6% or something like that, which is kind of cool. It'll just allow us to do it just a little bit more AOE. I mean, I don't think we're in a bad place. I do know that the seems like the Brewmaster and the Mistweavers, yeah, that part of my class is definitely going through the ringer right now. They were just a little bit too powerful.
Dang, okay. So you're still in a pretty good position because you've been doing real good numbers, right? Real good parses too.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, it feels good. I don't feel like it. Like, yeah, Windwalker is in a pretty good spot right now.
I know that uh, Beef was a little bit annoyed with all the Prot Pally buffs, so and of course the Brewmaster nerfs.
He doesn't play a prop pelly, that's why.
Yeah, but it's good to see, and hopefully with 1205 as well, that the class changes they make are gonna really help, because I know that rogues are still, unfortunately for you, Squirrelthug, in a bad position, and Feral Druid for Kyressa as well.
Yeah, you mean for like Calamity for my rogue?
Yeah,
There's so also for Resto Druids, I mean this isn't really like a class tuning or something, right? But moving away from add-ons, on the Resto Druid, I was doing pretty good with the default raid frames. But in like the last week or so, which is right when I jumped into raiding with the Resto Druid, it and maybe I somehow missed it before, but the buffs and the debuffs and such. Sometimes you'll get like a debuff that like you really need to get rid of or something, and the icon will be on there. They changed that to like a colored border, which is really nice because like having an icon take up space on your frame is like really annoying. Um, and then there's just rejuvenation and some other buffs that will show up, and I have it set to only my buffs, only dispellable debuffs. Like so, the auras are over the last few weeks they've cleaned them up pretty good, but in the last week or so they added in a tooltip, and I do not know who did this, but if I find you, it is
So,
it hijacked the tooltip from where my edit
oh,
mode
jeez.
is put, right, which is on like the left side of my screen, which is like the far left, and maybe not far left, but it's over there. And my frames are on the right side of my screen. And so to like have a tooltip show up moused to the like or anchored to the mouse. So like it's on the cursor, which is exactly where my cursor is, like it's over my raid frames to heal. And if for every single player raid frame, I'm trying to, while I'm healing and everything, when I do hover over them, I have to hover over the frame, like the empty section of the frame, because if I do it over the buff, one, I'll see other I just it'll block other frames, but like I don't know if it heals correctly when it's doing that. So it could just be
Right.
self healing when I'm doing that, right? And so it was just, I don't know. It was working really. It was really ridiculous that it was just only for those little auras it would show me, and it's like I don't need that. I can visually see them. That's why they're set up the way they are, so you can visually see what they are and you know what they are. You don't need the tooltip. So I had to write some add-on, some script lines, some Lua lines for an add-on that I have that is kind of just a catch-all for several things in Blizzard's UI I do not like, and I had to specifically add some lines in to take this away and it worked.
Right.
So it was great. I'm glad that I was able to do that. But for anybody who's using the default raid frames, right now it's pretty difficult, because those tooltips
Mm.
are oh, they're not good, and they make them almost unusable.
Yeah, for me, I use and have been using the add-on TipTac for tooltips for probably since Wrath, and I know what you mean. For me, I have it so that not only are there tooltips anchored to the mouse, but during combat, I have them auto shut off, like on raid frames and stuff. Uh, Obviously, that's different for you and other people, but just having that ability to customize it really, really helps. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I appreciate the settings that I do have to customize, but the problem with this is they added in, or it's a mistake, is it might be a bug, but there's currently no toggle for turning like tooltip activation off during combat, right? Like if it's
Right.
during combat, because like some add-on raid frames used to do that. You can interact with it, you can hover
The
over and see
option.
all that stuff. But when combat happens, the tooltips, they don't happen anymore, which is very
Hmm.
useful. And that makes sense, but that option is not even there. So having the tooltips enabled that are anchored to, and like I can hover over the unit frame and the player name and everything for that is where it should be on my screen. So that was fine. It's just the auras that were being hijacked and re-anchored
Hmm.
to the mouse, like regardless of what
Right.
my settings was. So because that makes me think it was a bug, and because of that there's no setting to toggle that off, and there's no setting to disable tooltips during combat or tooltips just on the raid frames at all. It's like, dude, you should be, I don't know. I guess I can see why somebody would think, oh, of course players might want to know what that is. Like, yeah, maybe out of combat, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But speaking of, the add-ons and add-on development, like I looking at the what Liquid is doing for the race to world first, I'm impressed. I mean, I'm not like a really good add-on developer, but I've done a few, and it's the speed in which they're doing this is what the impressive part is, and it's cool to see. Personally, I think it's cool because I like the idea that you know there's a programmer or a team of programmers kind of like working away at this. Like this is like like an actual problem, and they're doing it on a time crunch. I think there's something kind of
Mm-hmm.
cool about that. But at the same time, the community has been very vocal about the fact that I mean, maybe most of the community isn't ever going to be in a race to world first mythic, right? But this is sort of telling everyone that the bar is much higher now, right? If you were going to join the race to world first, you can't just be a ragtag, snazzy group of raiders who decided to like jump in the race and stream it and like get in there, right? You need 24-hour like chefs, you need sauce therapists that are there to like help like your raiders. You need to have a nutritionist so that they're getting everything correctly. You need to have add-on developers on staff, like ready and waiting to like develop exactly what these players need, and debug them as they need, right? Because they're going to be testing them live during a race to world first, and you're going to have to be there. Like, just it's the overhead costs for these teams is pretty crazy, and again really cool to see it, but kind of it's moved away from like kind of a grassroots thing where like anybody can participate to like now it's NASCAR, right? Like
It's business
you
now.
need a whole pit crew to get in there, and you need to get sponsors and stuff, and these guys all look like NASCAR drivers with their little sponsorship jackets and stuff.
Right. Not to mention
Yeah.
they also have to pay the casters and stuff, for their streams. All the people behind the scenes doing the streams, you know.
Dude, they have announcers. They got 24-hour coverage for announcers and they come like they switch out in shifts.
Yeah.
And that's just for Liquid that I'm watching. It's pretty crazy.
They get their own golden retriever.
Wait, like an
I think
actual
part
golden
of
retriever?
Yes, they do. At Liquid, they do.
That's awesome.
I think part of the problem too is that with the intention of the whole add-on disarmament, it has ironically made that more impossible. That is, with all of the armament, now the only arms available are to the top guilds. And we're also seeing them, get around the mental computations with add-ons, which they're not supposed to do.
I heard
So,
an argument for that for Terminate. So on Mythic difficulty, Terminate is a 1.5-second cast that must be interrupted 5 times sequentially across 3 rotating adds, termination matrices. Missing a single cast it's literally a wipe. I've never seen them miss a cast and it didn't just shotgun the entire raid to death. Right, 1.5 seconds is short. It's like crazy short. And
right.
they were talking about redesigning, and I think up until this, literally just this fight, it was they were talking about not doing things that the players are like they don't have the window to process and do these things. Like obviously it's mythic and they're gonna have you do the dance, but specifically this terminate from the terminate the cast the 1.5-second cast coming from the termination matrices is I think it goes against what they promised us. And that is something
Right.
that players had pointed out. And it's like, well, okay, one, yes, maybe some people might have a negative opinion about Liquid and the use of add-ons and the fact that they have a private developer and like only they have it. Even if they do release it later on, like it's just theirs for right now. It's like to secure the win, and then now everybody else can get it, kind of like Method Raid Tools, right? But it's the fact that it's such a short cast, and it's like, what else did you expect them to do? Like genuinely, what else did you expect them to do?
Yeah, they were saying like what exactly was Blizzard's design goal? I saw the same thing, that it's a 1.5 second cast time. What exactly were they expecting them to do? And I do agree with that. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, Blizzard were aware of watching the race themselves and did disable some of the ways that they were getting around some things. I think some of the early Leora mechanics and such. So it's sort of a mix of both. On the one
They've
hand,
also had
Blizzard,
conversations with Liquid and have been just like, they just stopped doing things without the Blizzard hotfixing something. Right. So like
okay.
there's somebody having conversations with them. Like that's been also like a thing that has been like talked about. But Jack, you were gonna say something?
Oh, I was gonna say, and it's not just the cast; it's also that there are 3 rotating targets. So it's like,
Yes,
Right.
I think Templar was talking about that
surprised, like,
earlier. That used to be the issue, right? And again, right, this goes back to what did you expect them to do? They made the add-on. Blizzard had the conversation with them. There was also parts of it that they had just disabled outright with the hotfix. So there was that. So there's like this sort of this arms race going back and forth, which other people had also again pointed out that Liquid's really brave for doing something like this because they could just get banned and that could just be in the middle. And now they got to go get another account. Like you're out for the rest of the race, and the whole team is banned. Like you're not making it back here in time, right? So just try again next time. So it's crazy that they're toning the line like so close. They're just walking that line, but also Blizzard made a change. The termination matrices were not in the boss frames initially. So they did the hotfix, they disabled this
right.
thing, and then they put them on the raid frames, and now, yes, they're spinning,
That
but
allows them to
now,
make a macro for it, which is
so
how it
now
should be intended.
so yes, you can do the macro. I think that's what like a big thing that people were focused on was like now it's macroable and you don't have to do whatever, but you still have to look at them and watch them. And the fact that they're spinning and you've got to sequentially do right, and it's in an order, and 5 times each. So it's like
Right.
there's still a coordination effort that needs to happen. It's just that initial design was against what Blizzard is promising that they were going to do, where they're going to allow us to like have the time to do these things, to do these complicated things, and give us the ability to do that, as opposed to Termination Matrix is insane. The early pools of that, where they don't have the boss frames and they're not like able to just like kick those, all of them, it is a brutal wipe, and it doesn't happen at the like. Well, actually, it happened pretty early, so it was pretty easy for them, I guess, to iterate on pretty quickly to get through. But still, the first thing that they did was make an add-on.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of wild that I mean, in my eyes, it's a lot of the other bosses have been decently challenging and stuff. This one in particular is probably one of the hardest bosses that they've ever made. After the add-on culling, I think a lot of people thought that maybe they're gonna somehow make some unique things that people have to deal with without having to use an add-on, right? That would still be uniquely difficult, but not something like this, right? Where it's like you got to be a robot, not a robot, but you know what I mean. There's very, very, very little room for error, and yeah, a Mythic guilds will just eventually get it down, figure it out, but even they made an add-on for it, right? I guess it's making the system even more robust if behind the scenes, the back and forth between these race to world first guilds and Blizzard's UI team.
Yeah, like we said before, it's gonna be reinforcing this fortress that they're building.
Yeah, and we also have to remember that Blizzard was also concerned with the fact that what is it, the Illyria fight, Midnight, or I'm sorry, not Midnight Falls, Crown of the Cosmos was what, 30 pools, and they beat it. And whenever the reset happened, we know that Beleren immediately had buffs. I don't know if Laura did. But yeah, my guess is that, at least for right now, that a lot of this is for the race to world first, at least insofar as how strict it is. But hopefully they give us an update once it's done and sort of, tell us what their desire is.
Yeah, being able to find out, like the final version of the raid, because I don't know that everyone this is tuned. But also, people said that maybe they should tune it for what the final thing it should be, not have like a kind of hard difficulty for the race to world first, so that there's like the tension and the suspense, and then tune it all the way down for all of us the regular people. Like it should just be, but then it's a balance. Like what do you do? I think the way that they've done it in that way, right? Like where it's really hard, and then there's obviously tuning down afterwards. Um, I think that's a good system. I can understand why people were like, "Oh, well, that means like my guild can't do in the way that when we finally do Mythic, like it's because it's after all these debuffs and all these nerfs and stuff. Like, why don't we just have that from the beginning?" It's like, because entertainment. Like there's value to this entertainment. There's value to this race. I think there's a lot to it, and it's worth it. There's only a few people that are really racing for it, anyways. And if you brought it down to like whatever that level is, this race would be over so fast.
Yeah,
for sure. It's a hard. It's kind of just has. I mean, just because race to world first is a thing, right? It's not even like. I mean, really, if you think about it, it's not a Blizzard sponsored event. It's run by the guilds themselves, and their sponsors and stuff like that. So it's going to happen regardless, and it does add excitement to World of Warcraft, even for people that don't play anymore, or maybe even people that what race to world first, like what's that, and go to watch these guilds, do their thing. It's like this guy's after at its current level, I would find it very hard if a lot of guilds would actually be able to get CE cutting edge. By the end of the season, it'd be real rough work.
yeah.
Unless they tuned it down a little bit. It's just.
We also have really short seasons now, right? Like much shorter than like when CE was first introduced.
I would say they're. I think so. I think they are shorter than they used to be.
They've locked in a cadence and they've kind of stuck to it. So we're getting with I think it's like 5-month patch cycles.
Right.
It totals we get like a year and a half for an expansion, which that's crazy, dude. What's that mean? Like the end of the year? When next year? And it was only spring now, but yeah, like the end of the year next year we'll be looking to experience the Last Titan. That's fast. Right. Which is a complete opposite of the last time that we were in Northrend, because we spent a lot of time there at the end of the on that last patch.
Yeah, there was that time in Warlords where it was a 1 year between patches, so it's a lot better than that.
Yeah, we're in a really good position as things are speeding up, but that with that cadence, it's kind of go 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 on a lot of this stuff, and this add-on disarmament has been maybe approached too quickly, right? Like it. I think Shaq, you had some more opinions on that, right? Like where you had some feelings about like I mean maybe like the unfairness between them being able to just like program their own stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, who else is? I mean, it definitely something like that. It definitely hinders any other teams that What I would love to see, honestly, I would love to see like this way that like Liquid is doing their thing, and Echo and Method, and you've got these other teams, that are in the top 10, let's say, and it would be cool to see them without those types of resources be able to hang in there and get first, because the race to world first doesn't require all of this extra stuff. I don't know. It's like even splits and stuff too. But I mean, I can understand their add-on that, like, the phase mechanic where they all have to get their symbols, and they have to get them aligned, and it's going to go clockwise, and then the next time it's going to go counterclockwise, and they have like a custom add-on. But within that add-on, it's not just giving them the way, right? It's like the people in the different phases are clicking on those icons and clicking them in sequence so they know the sequence. It's like just kind of sending them like a chat message, basically, just to let their add-on know that, oh, here's one, there's two, there's, we've got all the Stargate, symbols clicked in, and now that's going to be the rotation or whatever. I don't know, could you imagine them doing that, like on a fight like this with just voice comms?
Yeah, that would be, I think, very definitely difficult. And that's what some of these add-ons are doing, right? They're clearing the comms. Otherwise,
they're clearing the comms.
You would have a lot to talk about, and they already have a lot to talk about. As they're working through all of this. Right. I think this is.
Unless you've got 21st man like Max that can watch everybody's screen, and he's seeing him, he's like, all right, circle, star, triangle.
Yeah, I think what's happening right now is what always happens. I'm speculating that what I'm looking at here is just something that is always happening, right? The only difference is that right now, the entire, or like just a really large portion of the WoW community is watching live all these teams battle for the race to world first, right? They're obviously locked in when somebody talks about the hotfix that just came in. They're going to be reporting it live because they have the staff who's watching, who's checking to see the hotfixes are coming out and all this other, right? Like, and so the staff is going to know, the team is going to know, the strategists are going to know, the announcers are going to know. So as a viewer, you're going to know. So these things are probably always happening all the time, and we know that they are. Like we watch, if you watch the news enough, you'll see these things happening. But I think people view it as like maybe a different type of system because you're right now currently watching it from the outside, right? I don't know. I think that a lot of these hotfixes and stuff that are happening right now just normally always happen, right? During the raid, during the season, near the end. It's just a continuous tuning to get everything in line with who's currently participating. That's another thing too. Most of the community isn't going to be here until they get way more gear, and then these mechanics are going to be right for this team negligible, but it brings it within a realm of like possibility, having a lot of versatility, having a lot more crit, having a lot more healing, having a lot more damage throughput on a few people, so you can go less heals. You get really good healers and stuff, and you can just get stack the DPS or something, right? Like, there are things that people get to do later in the season, and it's just
their average, I think, is like 10 item levels below the highest point that you can get right now, which is still pretty high. That's because they did splits and stuff.
And when we get there, or when most of the community gets there, they're going to be basically topped out, right?
Right.
Even to the point of like using the forge to like push all of your gear slots to a higher item level. So it being 20 item levels higher than what Liquid is right now, and then still struggling and trying to get through this shit.
Right. Oh, there's a reason why they're the best. You see their damagers doing 200k.
Yeah, insane, right? That's not only that, it's these guys are all top performers, so they're all the best of the best. So it's just like it's. I don't know. I think it's totally normal that Blizzard is doing all these hot fixes and kind of running back and forth with how it's the add-ons that are really just the focal point, I think, here, right? Because that's kind of the central point of like, okay, what was the point of the whole disarmament if these guys are basically putting up add-ons that almost look like the weak ores that you took away?
Right, exactly. And then not feeling like we have the ability to counter that, or we have to rely on the top guilds, um, giving this to us. So there's not technically there's no guarantee. I mean, they don't have to.
See, that's one thing that I'm thinking, right? Like, if Blizzard turns this into like an esport thing, because I know that they wanted to do esports for Overwatch. And that was like Jeff Kaplan in the interview was talking about that. It was a big part of their plan. Maybe that made them shy away from it like a little bit, but I think if they took it to a certain, it's not a huge tournament with a bunch of people. It's usually just a few teams, and there's probably some things that you can do, from online to even be a qualifier. Like your team, your guild would have had to get a boss down or get something down within a certain amount of time, or I don't know how that would work out, but I'm sure that there could be certain stats that are just makes your team a qualifier, and the first 5 teams, 10 teams to do that, whatever, get an invitation to the Blizzard International, right? And that could be like an arena that these people go to perform to do this all around the world. There could be like 2 or 3 of them, and it'll be official Blizzard. But when these people are, you can bring your team, you can bring logistics, all that stuff or whatever, right? But there's maybe a sort of promise that all of the add-ons that they have that are being developed and stuff are those are just gonna by contract they got to get released. Maybe not
Right.
during the race, but we can all like know that okay, anytime anything they develop here, they're developing for the community. Because at the end of this, like that add-on is going to get put out, and it's maybe there's a promise like okay, but you can do that, but you have to put an add-on out and you have to maintain it to the end of the expansion. So now we got an add-on that's going to work through the patches, and they're contractually obligated to do that, right? Like, I think you could do something like that if you had I don't know if you had a little bit more control over the race. Maybe so maybe they start doing something that's official. I think
Yeah,
maybe that could be a good solution.
I think they don't want. That's the whole reason they didn't want it to go there, though. You know what I mean? They don't want your players to have this thing. That was like their whole, Blizzard's kind of standpoint on was like that you won't have to have these things in order to finish the raid, right? Like, and yeah, maybe like, you know, you don't you don't have to have that add-on, right? It's going to make it a lot way easier. I'd like to see a guild beat it
But
without
maybe
it.
20 more item levels makes it easier, and we don't need the add-on when we get there, right?
Maybe. See, I guess. We'll never know because we'll never know if those guilds that did got CE used the add-on or not.
There was a achievement in I think it's like Ulduar, so back in Wrath of the Lich King, and it could have been for Naxxramas as well. But if you were to go into the Ulduar, for example, and every single person in your raid group was at some item level or below, and you beat everything, then you would get like a kind of special um, achievement, and you can go
Right.
all the way to the end of the season and still get that achievement.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Right.
that
I
would
know
be
what you're
kind
talking
of
about.
cool, Yeah, doing something like that because then you can just like go. It's like okay, well, what did method beat it at? Like 10 levels below. It's okay, well, make the achievement that.
Right.
Right. A specialized thing.
Yeah, whatever their item levels were when they beat Race to World First, whoever hit World First for the final boss, that'll be the achievement. For that raid, you got to do the whole raid at that item level. Even though they probably did earlier bosses at earlier item level, like lower item levels, right? Whatever they get it done with, whatever they down the last boss with, like that could be the achievement, the item level number, the target to hit, and you get an achievement. So you kind of like following in their footsteps, sort of. I don't think we've had an achievement like that after Wrath. I can't remember any that were like that. I think that was like days of old.
I think
Yeah,
they didn't. Some people didn't like that they were still kind of, I don't know if you want to call it singling people out, or you know what I mean, like making something. I don't know. Some people, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you try hard enough, maybe you could achieve that. You really got to get in the right guild and do the things. And,
But it
you
was just
know,
like I
work
think
your
it
way
was like
up to that
maybe a
point.
title, you know. And so that's not like a huge deal. It's just some text above your character's name.
Right.
So,
It
but if
really.
you had it, people would know. Like, oh damn, this is he's one of them.
Mhm.
He's one of the sweats.
Right. Right. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where this goes going forward with add-ons and Blizzard's standpoint on them, because I think, I mean, personally, I think less add-ons is good. Being able to do encounters without them is good. Just, I mean, they can still be hard, but it's rough. It's a rough place.
Yeah. And I mean, again, speaking of this world first situation here, right now as we speak, Liquid is in phase 3 again with, I mean, it's such an impressive race to see this happening, but it does look like I was worried that they were gonna, get back into that secret phase and figure it out and down it sometime during the podcast, but it looks like I don't know that they've made it back in.
It's hard enough. Yeah, that's the crazy thing about this mythic fight
Oh,
right now too.
did you see the this the first time I saw that constellation mechanic?
Yeah.
That's
Oh yeah, the
insane.
constellation. Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, dude, what are they doing?
Dude, this fight, this mythic fight, like I said, I think it's one of the hardest fights that they put out, especially since what it was like maybe an hour and a half ago. You know, like it had been closed echoes at like 0.48% or 45%, right? On some of the reports, and also consistently getting like super close. And the Liquid was at like 1.97 on their best pool. And then boom, they get 0%, and it's like, but wait,
Oh, they
there's
pushed into the
more.
secret phase again just now.
And it like blows like more than half of their raid just blew up. I think they had like 5 people standing, you know. I'm like, okay, now what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is we're seeing the secret phase again right now. This
yeah.
is
So
Oh, they got to it.
yes.
Yeah.
And there's now a beam that's like going around in a circle. We haven't seen that before. So this is like it looks like this is the longest they've been in secret phase, right?
Oh shoot, I gotta put
all
it
I
on.
can
I'm
say
stopping
though
watching.
is with all that we've been discussing though, ultimately it looks like just one heck of a like just fun as all can be. Like, I mean, we had the Dimensius race as well as the boss himself, but this one just takes it to another level, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, going into it in heroic and then into mythic as well.
And a big difference from normal because we went in there and we one shot it on normal first try. Never seen the boss, just got
Right.
it down. And one
Huge
of
difference,
our
even from normal to heroic.
Beef was talking about how easy it was and it was a joke. And at the end of it, it was like, wow, um, I wonder what this means for the mythic version of this. And it's a huge difference. So
Yeah.
yeah, pretty amazing, pretty amazing. I think if any of our listeners, you don't usually watch the Race to World first, go look up some highlights. Go look up some highlights for this stuff because just watching some of these guilds perform, it's impressive. And the things that they're having to contend with, like keep in mind that they're not practicing this thing over months. Like if you're a raider, like you would, like they're adapting in minutes and hours and days to these mechanics and all this stuff. Like it's insane. It's really impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're stacking on some of these spaces is insane.
I was just going to say we can't help but watch it while we're recording the podcast
Yeah,
because
yeah, it's
of just
great. It's
how
suspenseful.
nutty it is.
It's
Yeah.
insane. But yeah, so with that, I think we'll go ahead and we'll wrap it up. We were hoping that we would get some sort of resolution here, but again, the race seems that it's really going. And they're still going for it. We just saw Secret Phase again. It looked like something new showed up, so they're going to be talking about that. There's going to be, you know, more Wowhead articles out there. So, keep up on all this stuff. By the time this this drops, the Race to World First, I'm sure will already be over. This is going to drop on Tuesday for the reset. So I'm wondering if they'll make it into another lockout. So it'll be interesting. But with that, I want to just remind everyone that the best way to support the show is through our Patreon. Every bit helps us keep the lights on and the production and keep this going every week. You can find us at patreon.com/lastattemptpod. And if you don't have the gold to spare, that's totally fine. You can still help in a big way at no cost by listening to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Share, leave comments, ratings. We'd love to see a 5-star rating. If you guys have any comments, you want some questions answered, right? You can go on any of our socials and ask those questions. If you're going to leave a comment on a Spotify or Apple podcast, it's probably, we're going to read it, but it's probably not the best way to leave us a question. The best way to probably be on our socials. So on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, we are Last Attempt Pod. So you can find us on all of those. The link for our Discord is also in the description. So you can find us in that. And we have a questions channel as well if you want to ask those. So definitely hit us up any way that you can. We got a comment from before, from like last week. We read that out on the podcast. So make sure to put those comments up and we will read them out. If you got any questions, we'll definitely try to do our due diligence in finding out exactly, what it is you're asking about. Usually, the panelists we have here, our hosts, these guys are really good at the game. They've been playing it for a long time. So, whatever your question is, I'm sure that we can answer it very easily. I think we had mentioned
Or
it
give
earlier.
us some comments just on what you thought about the Race to World First and stuff,
Yeah, if there's anything you're thinking about the race, right, or the add-on debacle, right?
Post it up.
Definitely. Yeah, post it anywhere you can. And on YouTube, give us a like, a follow, subscribe, push all those buttons. Those are always really great. And I also wanted to remind everyone that we are still recruiting. So, you can hit us up on any one of these things, but the best way is to get to our Discord and just, your character name, server name, and Raider.io link. And what was the other site that we're on? Is Warcraft Logs, right? For you, Shakatan, they can hit you up?
Yep. I'm on there. If you look up Second Attempt on Sargeras on Warcraft Logs, you can find my BattleNet on there. Private message me.
Yep, there you go. So get you guys in there, and we're still building the team. We're pushing through Heroic right now, so we should be out of that and into Mythic, like progressing pretty soon. Okay, and that is going to be it for us. Thanks again for joining us for the podcast. I appreciate it. And thank you, Shakatan and Templar, for joining us again. Always good to have you guys here. And that's it for us. See ya.
Toodles.
Laters.